My voice coming through okay? Can everyone hear me? Good levels? Too loud, too quiet? Right, I'm guessing. What's everyone doing today then? So, yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do on here, but I'm yeah, the show at the grammar. People seem a lot better on Stick AM, but they're that any better? If I just turn the mic right up. Very frustrating. God damn it! All good now? I don't know if it's just a connection problem or what. Had that awesome piano chord. Oh yeah. Evil. No video. Come on. I don't trust these live stream things. They never seem to pan out quite well. If anyone's having any problems, try refreshing their browsers. Everyone else seems to be getting there by doing that. Teach me, sensei. Huh. So yeah, if you guys got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Hi, 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 hey, hey, hi. The UK shows, there's not many at the moment. I just don't seem to have the right pull in the UK at the moment. I think we are trying to organise more of a UK-based tour, but sorry, my manager's texting me. Make sure you're on Ustream, boy. Since when did I create those? Well, I can't say I created it. I started writing it in about 1.5 years ago. Well, maybe a bit more now. That's when I first started producing electronic music. No, sadly I am not producing bands anymore. I don't really have the time for it in amongst touring and writing my own work. I just generally don't have the time for it. First time in Chicago with Vasky and Excision, that was an awesome show. That was the last show of my last US tour in January. Yeah, played the Congress Theatre. It was mad. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Not an album. There may be rumours of an EP dropping in the next couple of months or so. Obviously you got the new single Here to Stay coming out on the 4th of March on No Tomorrow Recordings, which is the new sister label of Never Say Die. Next show in LA is actually this. I'm playing at the Avalon this Saturday, the 8th of March. No, I do not use Modern Talking. I don't think, no, I've never used Modern Talking actually. I am a Logic user. A lot of other people are using Ableton and Cubase, but I myself find most comfort writing in Logic. Like I said, I'm not doing an album. The next thing I'll be doing will probably be an EP, which I can imagine will be another 4, 5, maybe 6 new songs. Sweden. I'm not sure about Sweden yet. When did I get my ear stylized? Is that what you guys call them? We call it stretched. And I've had this for years. And yes, I only have one. I thought it'd be different. EQ automation. I don't actually do much automation with EQ. I use a lot of filters, but I don't necessarily automate my EQs, but I do a lot of volume automation in answer to that question. I'm playing in France this Saturday, I believe, and I forget where, but it's like borderline France. How would you find a manager to help? I guess just, you want to start off by getting, well, this is the way, I guess it's kind of hard for me to say because it kind of all came as a package for me, but just send your stuff to as many labels as you can and just try and get some response. That's the way to kind of get the ball rolling on it. Tractor versus CDJs. Well, actually, my new setup is Tractor with CDJs. I'm using the 2000s with advanced HID into Tractor now, which is my new live setup. So technically, I like them both. How do I make my tracks sound so clean and crisp? Funny enough, even though however many people will tell you this, I don't use distortion. which is a very big factor of how I might get that clean sound, is I don't actually use really any distortion in my tracks. You sample your basses. No, I tend to create all my synths out of either FM8, Massive, Silence, Reactor, Razor, and then if I want to get really technical, I'll bounce it out, resample it, chuck it into a sampler, and yeah, just mess with it and reset up. The moustache. I wish it would grow better. It's just like bum fluff. It looks better in photos. What do I like about being Zomboy? Seeing the world and meeting all you crazy fans. That's definitely the best part of the job. Oh, and making music and playing music for a living. It's pretty cool. Other than EDM. To be honest, I'd like to see that question is, other than EDM, what other stuff are you listening to? Yeah, and to be honest, I don't actually listen to that much EDM music per se. I listen to a lot of acoustic and chilled out kind of music because the majority of my life is now being exposed to heavy electronic music, like for work. So when I'm not working, I tend to like to just listen to stuff that makes me want to fall asleep or to calm me down rather than hype me up. I am indeed an Angry Birds fan, hence the use of the Angry Birds sample in Hoedown. It's a very addictive game and I've lost many hours on it. Favourite drink? Definitely coffee. 100%. I'm a coffee fiend. Set in Leeds? Not that I know of yet, but I would love to play in Leeds. Got big love for that place. I am coming to Spring Awakening. That is true. Yep, I listen to indie folk, people like the standard Mumford & Sons, you got Villagers, loads of different guys. Ableton Push, probably not. I don't tend to use that many outboard controllers just because the majority of the writing that I do is normally on the road, so I can't really take big things with me. It's very rare that I get to sit in this room and actually write music. So I don't think it'd be really point me having any external MIDI controllers. Costa all the way. And the same college course as me as I was at Truro. Say hello to everyone. Yep, I use Massive. Massive is a great synthesizer and there's nothing that really touches it in diversity and all the different waveforms and oscillators. I'm sick. Do I like Feed Me songs? Of course. That man is a genius. More food, more love, still getting it. Yes, I come from a background of musical instruments, mainly metal, so my first instruments are actually drums, guitar, bass, and then it's like keyboards. I've dabbled with violin, clarinet, bit of everything. What did you go to school for? To learn? My favourite colour? I gotta say purple. I wouldn't say I'd ever wear it or even put it in my room, but secretly I'm a big purple lover. Do I? Do I wank? That's inappropriate. Do Cornish gigs? Do any gigs actually happen in the homeland of Cornwall? Apart from Run to the Sun and Boardmasters. Yeah, the new song Here to Stay, the vocal track on that, the vocals from the new track were actually intended for Nuclear from my last EP, The Dead Symphonic, but due to complications and things not happening at the right time, we ended up scrapping the idea of those vocals on that track and went with the other a cappella. So I had these vocals left over, and then decided, well, I've got this amazing a cappella now, might as well put it to a new original piece of music, and started messing around with it. It was originally at 174 BPM, so I time stretched it up to 220 BPM, which at halftime would be 110 BPM, and then thus came Here to Stay, bit of a Moombahton style track. Yeah, turned it over in like a day, sent it to management to approve, and then it got synced to a Hollywood movie trailer, and now it's being released. So, great work for one day. A musical background, basically, from a very early age, I slightly remember listening to hip-hop with my brother, but for the majority of my upbringing, I listened to like hardcore, rock, metal, things like that. I like to build my own ESX24 kits. I love the ESX24 sampler in Logic just because the fact that you can take a bounced bass line that you've made, right-click, convert it to a sampler track, map it out across the keys, and then mess with the looping, mess with the filtering, and you can just get really creative on a sound that you've already been creative with, so you're getting doubly creative on it. Play the songs. Football, I don't watch football, I'm afraid. I'm British and I don't watch football. What's wrong with me? The Architects, as in the band? So that's, what, does that say Architects? The Architects. If that's meant to mean the Architects, then yeah, they're awesome. My favourite hardcore band back in the day was Stick to Your Guns. They're a great, just angry band that I could just get angry to on my own. Thoughts on Trap? It's a bit of Marmite for me. It's a bit of I love and hate it. I love the good style of trap, like the more originated kind of trap. And basically, if they do it right, it can be good. But if you do it wrong, it's a bit iffy. I've actually written a trap tune which is going to be coming out pretty soon. There was a growl. Grr. How have I produced music? Like I was saying, electronic music I've been producing for yeah, about a year and a half, give or take a few months. But I was producing bands before that, just like acoustic acts and metal bands for probably 3 or 4 years. Your Demise, great band. Thank you, I've been working on that growl. Quality or quantity? Definitely quality. I mean, I must have written at least 30 new ideas since the Dead Symphonic EP, but probably only 3 or 4 of them will make the final cut for the next EP, and the rest will just be added to the folder of things that have been and gone. Favorite video game? Left 4 Dead and GTA. Both the best games. Planning on releasing any content on a different label? Well, technically I will be because No Tomorrow is a new label, but it's still affiliated with Never Say Die, so technically yes, but really no. What do you think of Skrillex? I'll cover this a million times, but he's amazing. He's the only reason I started writing electronic music. I have actually sampled my own vocals in one of my new songs, which is also going to be released quite soon. Yeah, you'll hear it when it comes out. Not like singing or anything, just a bit like quirky vocals. I don't know when the next show in Finland will be. I tend not to look too far into the future on my bookings because it gets a bit overwhelming. How do I feel about the Skrillex Zomboy controversy? I'm okay with it. Like I said, he's the only reason I wanted to get into this kind of music, so there's going to be certainties that I was going to sound like him because he was my main influence. But yeah, no, it really doesn't bother me. It's actually, I take it as a compliment. How nervous do I feel before a show? I'm always a little bit nervous just because, well, it's my livelihood. This is my profession now. So if I mess up, yeah, it's not good for me. So yeah, there's always that nerve that kind of sinks in right before a show. Is the high FM bass in the new soundtrack sampled from Make It Bundem? No, it's not. I will actually briefly show you. It's actually quite an easy sound to make if you look into it. Find it now. I haven't updated this computer in a while. Here we go. Do I like my character in Schism's Fuck the Experts? Yes, I love it. It's awesome. I'm going to get the little image of me and my entourage put on a big canvas and stuck on that wall. I have a play on Rock for People in Czech Music Festival. Relic was there. No idea. It would be cool if I could. How many hours do I put into a track? And do I master my own stuff? Yes, I master all my own stuff. I don't like anyone else touching my work. And how many hours? That's always that's like the typical question: how long is a piece of string? It can be anything. It could be a couple of days. It could be about a week. But any more than that, I tend to kind of just be like, no. I use FM8 quite a lot. Yes, I love FM8. Good night. The thing at the bottom of my door is a sit-up bar. I haven't kissed Luke Hood before. Weirdest track I've dropped live. I haven't done this yet, but I really want to play some 80s Ched synth pop sometime and see how the crowd reacts. I'd either get booed off stage or everyone will think I'm a champion. Show your ass, bruh. No, I think that technically would be classed as live porn then. Nuclear growls. Nope, they're actually made in massive. Hate Bit Crusher. It's great as an effect for like, I use it on things like, to make things sound a little bit more gritty, but that's not necessarily downsampling it, as, but I don't really use it much on actual bass sounds. Favorite headphones, this is where you hate on me, but I'm saying Beats by Beats Pros, because that's what I mix, write and master all my stuff on, and it sounds great. And I thought of mixing 8-bit Nintendo stuff. I would love to. I love like chiptune and 8-bit music. It's great. Studio monitors. Always depends on your budget. I mean, I've got some fairly good Dynaudio BM6As, which are really good. They're amazing on all the different frequency ranges. But yeah, it all depends on your price range. Don't look so serious. That's my reading face. I can't help it. What shall I read with a smile? David Pulse. Great. That dude is amazing. Oh yeah, I was going to show you the thing that I did not sample again from Skrillex. Where are we at? Ooh, that's probably quite loud. Better? We back yet? The Beatport competition is going to be... Hold on. Anyone now? Can anyone hear me again? Yep. Cool, okay. Yeah, the Beatport competition, remix competition, is actually going to be for Here to Stay. Yeah, so all the parts will be available upon release. I'm not sure exactly when, but just stay tuned and keep checking on their Facebook page to find out more details of it. Right. Oh yeah, just for that sound. The modulation of the bass is actually just purely down to a tremolo. So basically an automated volume, yeah, an LFO on a volume tremolo. I'll show you again. So without it, it's just this straight sound. And then with the tremolo on, it gives it the movement. It's fun playing with Corella, yeah. They're awesome. They're an awesome bunch of girls and guy. Zomboy Drop. Ah, that is a song called Bad Intentions, and that's going to be on the next EP. The bit that you probably heard on the video was the second drop, which is halftime. I'll give you a quick preview of that. hear that? You would have heard, but you probably would have heard, and the drop is this part. There you go, that's all you get. It's a little teaser. Kick like a mule. Triple Byte's wow filter. No. I despise that thing. I know a lot of people do use it for their filtering to make it the vowel-y kind of stuff, but I tend not to use any kind of formant vowel filter sounds. I like to keep it natural at the source rather than processing it like that. Shout out to Adam Benfield. How do you decide what is too complex and what is just enough? That is a very tricky question. You can probably tell if you heard my older stuff that I used to just be like, I'd managed to find make about 1,000 sounds to fit into like 16 bars, and it was just like, it's just too much, and that's when you've got to be like, okay, and to kind of hone in, find the best sounds of these, use them more creatively, and more than just using them once in like 16 bars. So yeah, try to, again, that's another down to quality and quantity. It's definitely down to the quality of it. Don't just make hundreds of different kind of cool noises and then put them all in 16 bars. Hone in on getting some really nice, some really like leading sounds, and then use them more. I guess that answers your question. Breakdown structure from hardcore, probably. Yeah, a lot of my metal influences come through into my electronic dance music influence. ID stuff. To be honest, I really don't have that much time to do collaborations. I'm always writing my own stuff, and if I do a collaboration, it's normally kind of spur of the moment, like I'm with them and be like, oh, right, let's do this now. Drum fills. Yeah, I've got, as I said, I used to be a more of like a classic sound engineer. So I used to sample a lot of drum kits that I would record for sample replacement purposes. So I've got the stacks, gigs of libraries of all the different drum hits of acoustic kits and different fills. So that's really good to have at my disposal for when I'm writing these tracks, because I like to incorporate quite a lot of acoustic drums into all my sounds. I don't have any rack patches because I'm guessing that's an Ableton thing, and I don't really like saving channel strips either as a Logic user. I like to I don't like recreating the same sound twice, so I'll always start afresh every time I make a sound in a new project. Try not to use the same sounds all the time. Remix competition again is going to be for Here to Stay, the new single. I'm also a drummer, so yeah, it's important for me. My favorite VST. Ooh. I think right now I'm madly in love with Silent. I forget how powerful it really is when you get deep into it. That and Reactor. Why Logic over Ableton? I think it's more to do with the fact that the Academy of Contemporary Music, the university that I studied at, only used Logic, so I was almost forced to using it, and I'm glad because it's an amazing piece of software. I've time stretch or warp, like an a cappella or like a drum fill or something like that. There's a lot more quality involved in the audio processing in it. What do I use to get my growl sounding so big? I actually don't. If you were actually to look at my channels, I don't actually have that much external processing on top of my patches, like my massive patches or my FM8 patches. I tend to kind of do a lot of it in the box inside the synth, then add maybe a bit of camel fat and some compression, just some other various small touches. But yeah, it's always really important to get the source signal the best it can possibly be, rather than getting a semi-acceptable sound and then just processing it too much, because you're losing a lot when you do that. Make those 8-bit samples. I am actually in my studio, you just can't see it. It's all around me here. Well, it's actually my studio bedroom, because like I said, there's no need for me to have a studio anymore. I still have all the gear, which is all around here, but I can't move my computer because it's attached. How did I learn to do what I do? Is it in the electronic producing or just producing in general? If you're talking about producing electronic music, I started doing it when I started university, and I literally, while everyone else was out getting hammered on Freshers Week and generally being students, I locked myself away in my bedroom and was being very stubborn until I was able to make the music that I wanted to do. So it really does pay to put in a lot of hours outside of work and education and not just go out and get smashed all the time. You can save that for when you're famous. I am 23 years old, although I look about 30 because this is 4 miles, not sleeping, traveling all the time. Yeah. But yes, I'm 23. Pegboard Nerds, awesome. Loving their stuff. Playing a lot of it out at the moment as well. Gangster, what the hell is that? I'm getting too old, man. I don't know what that is. I have not used Fruit Loop Studio, actually. That's one of the few doors I haven't used. I started on Cubase, went over to Pro Tools, now I'm on Logic. I'm trying to pick up Ableton. Fruit Loops hasn't really crossed my mind much. Tricks by using my songs. I know what you mean by that. Elaborate. Headphones, Beats Pros. Projects for the future. Still Zomboy for the foreseeing future. But yeah, you'll hear with my future releases that I'm constantly diversifying, trying new things. I don't want to be known as a one-trick pony, which you'll see with my releases coming out soon. This is really exciting, and I really hope everyone liked it as much as I've liked working on it. But yeah, I'm just trying to just be a bit more diverse, and that's really where it's all going. Sharing my mixes. I don't tend to share my mixes, actually. Overwhelmed by the software. How do I get over it? What do you mean by that? As in the sheer amount of software available to me now, or just it being in front of me? No, I tend not to use distortion really on anything, not even my growls, which is why they normally be quite clear if you notice them. I'm sorry, I don't speak French. So I layer my kicks. I tend to, I make all my own drums out of multiple samples and different, like mixed hybrids of like synth samples. So I tend to use drum synthesis for like the low end of a kick, then maybe an acoustic sample for the top end and the general presence of it. And it's all about making your own, making sure you're getting the right frequency bands for the right sample. Yeah. How is it possible that Hearsay is that fucking awesome? I don't know. Considering I wrote it in one day, it's pretty incredible how it came out. What browser for internet do I use? I'm a Safari man. I know this is when you're going to all say like, oh, you should use Chrome or Firefox, but it doesn't really bother me that much. Do I own a copy machine? Yes, I do actually. I recommend ear stretching. Probably not, because you'll probably regret it when you're older. I'm quite glad I stuck with just a small one of them as well. It makes me a little bit more unique. Use Chrome, mate. Intimidated by options within a single piece of software. There's not that many pieces of software that intimidate me. The most intimidating one to get around at first was FM8 because it's very unnatural in the way that the classic synthesizers work. Like the whole matrix and the routing, everything is a lot different. And the operators, they're all very kind of head-scratchy at first, but once you get around it, it's fine. But yeah, I tend not to. All synths are the same, really. They all do the same thing. Just some are better than others. Biggest inspiration. I'll give you another preview of something in a minute. I'll find something. I'm going to have some chocolate. Who would win in a fight, a toaster or a blender? Definitely a blender. Have you ever seen Will It Blend? There are some next level blenders out there. That's a good question. What's more important, knowledge of music theory or being a synth wizard? I think both are pretty important. Knowing your synthesis is very important. And then the best way to learn that is to literally dive into it head first. Not literally, but just really explore everything and anything inside the synthesizer, which is what I tend to do when I get a new synthesizer. I will just mess with it completely. Even if I make the most horrendous sounds, I will mess with anything and everything within the synthesizer just to know what it does, know how it works. So yeah, that's important. And music theory, I think, not necessarily music theory, but musical mind is definitely really important as well, because technically, well, theoretically, I'm musically retarded. I can't even read sheet music, but up in my brain, I know what I want. So if I can come up with a chord progression, I know what I want. I can just about play it out on the keys, and then once I've done that, I can just tidy it up within logic. But yeah, having the ideas are very important. So musical minded, yes. Music theory, not so important. First growl sound. I actually did that in Razor, in Reactor, and actually vocoded it, which was really interesting and fun to do, which I don't do anymore, which I really should bring back out again. Reverb, my go-to reverb is Everything by Lexicon, like modelled around the old Lexicon units. They're incredible, and they've got like the halls, plates, rooms, and among other things, and they're just great. I've already shown one little glimpse of the upcoming EP. I might show you another bit. Column Shake. Really annoying, all these Column Shake videos, because I've been playing that track in my set for about 4 or 5 months before it did this whole viral thing, and now I just kind of have to take it out because I don't want to be that guy anymore. I use Tractor with CDJs now, using advanced HID mode. The name Zomboy was actually an accident while I was playing the game Left 4 Dead, which I previously mentioned. It was during the period that I was trying to think of an alias name. Couldn't think of anything. Played Left 4 Dead. Thought zombies are cool. Zomboy came along. It's the Zomboy. I'm trying not to be that guy. Groove and swing. Groove or swing. Not necessarily. I think I tend to have, my stuff is normally quite straight. It might be a little bit technical, but I wouldn't say it has much groove or hasn't got any swing really. Video's cutting out again. Well, I'm probably going to be around for about another 10 more minutes, guys. So a few more questions. I might try and find a little preview, and then I'll be out. Do a Harlem Shake remix? No. No. I don't want to touch it. It's a great song. Daft Punk's new album. It's going to be great, I'm sure. We soon see a Zom girl. I don't know, I'm too busy. Zomboy's got too much on his plate for a Zom girl right now. How tall am I? I'm 6'2". Without saying too much, I have written a trap tune, and it will be coming out. Not on the EP, but it will be coming out. But yeah, you'll have to stay tuned to the Facebook page for more details on that. Worst disaster that happened to me on stage. I think it was just a standard. Someone threw a whole pint glass of something, beer, hit me square in the face, and then landed on my controller. Everything cut out. I was covered in beer. And I actually went to the front of the stage and threatened the person, told them like to admit it, who they were, and tell them to come up to the front, because I was very angry at this point. I was ready to throw down. And it was right on my first song as well, which was even more of a piss take. Did you make that amazing high-pitched synth you use on your drops? Which one? I tend to make a lot of high-pitched synths. Favorite TV show of all time? Breaking Bad and Entourage. Not necessarily festivals, but the one thing that's on the top of my list to play is definitely Holy Shit. That looks insane. I would love to play on it. When I first started producing, how many hours did I put into it? A lot. Every minute I could, I'd be doing it. How do I get to work with Schism? He's my boss, so that's how we work together. Favorite synth outside of Native Instruments and Silence? I think the new synthesizer from Waves called Elements is incredible, and not just good for the analog old school sounding synths. I'd take a look at it because it is incredible. I synth that goes on Nuclear. That's also a very similar sound which I showed earlier. I don't know if you were here for it, but it's a bit of FM synthesis and wave shaping. Zomboy, you are epic. Well, thank you. Razor's awesome. The presets are terrible. I think if you build your own presets and patches within it, it's great. But the presets tend to be a bit, one, overused, and two, just not really all there. How do you go famos? I'm guessing you mean famous. You can't really plan these things, man. Just do your best, do what you love doing. Sounds cliche, but it's all I can really suggest. Ever considered an 80s cover? Yes. I love 80s synth pop. It's my weakness. I don't know about a cover though. What was the craziest drug you have done? The only drug I've ever done, apart from caffeine, is cannabis when I was a lot younger. I'm one of those guys that's never touched any hardcore drugs. Which is weird as well, because a lot of people say, like, well, how do you write the kind of music you do without the influence? But obviously you don't need to be under the influence. I will be at Ultra. I will be around Ultra at some point out there in the next couple of weeks. What do I expect from Knife Party's upcoming EP? Ridiculous. Amazing. Of course. Such a bad guy. Global Gathering, not sure. I think I'm going to be in America during Global Gathering again. I do like Entourage. It's great. I was hooked on that shit. Knife Party or Pendulum? Two different acts. I like them both. Love them both. Machine's new EP, I think it's really good. It's really creative. It's nice to just listen to as well. Not necessarily play out, but just a great collection of music to listen to. Silent one, yes, incredible. Great synth. I use it all the time. Walking Dead is awesome. I've got a lot to catch up on that. And that's going to be my next tour watch. I have seen the new Native Instruments synth teaser. They don't really give you much to think about though. They don't give you really an idea of where it's going or what it's going to be like, so I'm kind of like, come on, Native Instruments, you can give us more than that. Right. I'm gonna see if I've got any other little clips I can show you. I'm gonna head off. I don't actually have the newest stuff on this computer. They're all on my travelling MacBook. Sample the MacBook volume sound in Organ Donor. Not that I remember. Is there a bit in there that sounds like it? Do I hang out with fans after or before shows? I tend to go and do my whole kind of meet and greet things after the shows. Normally before the show I've normally travelled the whole day and I just want to sleep like the cool guy that I am. But yeah, after the show I'll always try my best to meet everyone who wants to meet me. Let me see. There's a bit of a weird sound. I'm not going to share my screen, I'm afraid. These are my secret patches. You figure out. You play a massive long enough and you can make anyone sound. Advice for someone who's producing, started but struggling. Easiest way about it, YouTube. YouTube will help you through anything that you've got a problem with. That's the best I can say for you, unless you're in an education establishment, which you can go and ask your lecturers or tutors about. I tend to just put in your hours, do some research, and yeah, that's the kind of best thing I can offer. Tomorrowland. I don't know. I'd love to though. That looks like one of the most insane ones ever. The Apogee Duet. That is actually what I'm using right now, and it is amazing. Yes. Scrapyard. No, it was not actually. Nope. I think I've ever used Modern Talking anyway. Whoa. Damn, son, that's loud as shit. Hasn't gone skinny dipping. Yes, I have been skinny dipping before, when I was a lot younger. Rezo, yeah, he's incredible, an amazing producer. just massive. Looking into a production school, yeah, I'd say definitely, because not necessarily just for the electronic synthesis, anything like that, but having a really good knowledge of engineering in general is really helpful and helped me a lot while I was starting out. Poop, that synth is insane. Oh, that's a big... Pure massive, yep. No external processing on that one yet. I can't actually tell you that much about No Tomorrow recordings yet because they are so new. And in fact, Here to Stay, my new single, is actually the first release of that new label. So yeah, I'm not actually fully aware of who's going to be on it or what's going to be coming out on it. All I know is that I'm doing the first release. This is also helping me clear up the fact that I do not sample Skrillex, however many people want to say it. Samples. This is actually a song that I started messing around with yesterday and ended up putting a Ludacris a cappella on top of it, and I love it. And I know I'm not going to be able to use it, which is a bastard because it really works well with it.
Life, the stamina, action, I'm a rock star, check the crowd reaction, I'm like, life, the stamina, action, I'm a rock star, check the crowd reaction, I'm like, I'ma drum your body like a guitar string, saying that Roberto Cavalli, mommy with the diamond ring, hotter than tamales, you probably should be my wild thing, tell the mother take money on business and let us do our thing, I got you open, stroking, and I'm not from Texas, but I hold them rope on, man, you can get it. You gon' make them play it too. Tell me what that thing is do. Classes and shit, let me show you what thing is do. Like, check the stamina, action, I'm a rock star. Check the crowd reaction, I'm like, check the stamina, action, I'm a rock star. Check the crowd reaction, I'm like, okay.
That's all you're getting at that one. But yeah, that's just something I started writing yesterday. Made for UK, yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't say I'm a god. Logic. Go, my pretties, right! How did I make these growls? They are a mixture of a bit of everything really. I've got massive, FM8, reactor, silence. I tend to just bop along. It's only if it's a fresh new idea that I'll look excited, because it's still exciting for me. If I've been making it for like weeks, I'll be like... Nope, don't layer my growls. I make one. I tend not to layer many sounds at all unless it's like an accented high-pitched thing like this thing that's in this track. And no, that's not dimension expander. That's lexicon and a lot of compression. If you like the Dead Symphonic EP, I can't wait for you to hear the new EP. The Dead Symphonic was a little bit more kind of experimental, a bit more kind of like, let's see how much I can get away with. The next EP is just going to be pretty much straight out gnarly tear out shit again. When I started out with my tracks, good. I don't think, when I started out, I never actually finished, like the very first couple ideas I wrote, I never finished, but the first full song I ever wrote was actually Falcon 6. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that. It was never released, but it was it was the first track that I'd finished as Zomboy, and well, in my EDM history actually. Right guys, yeah, I really appreciate you guys joining me this evening, but I'm actually going to have to go because I've got a very early morning to go and see the US Embassy about collecting my nice O1 visa, and then flying out to Geneva to party on down with the Swiss, and then on to France on Saturday. So if any of you out there are coming to the shows, I'll see you there. Yeah, and again, I will try my best to get back on here in between tours or whatever. So, but yeah, again, I really want to thank you guys for joining. It was a pleasure. And yeah, take it easy, stay tuned. Anything you want to know about, check the Facebook page. No Tomorrow recordings, Never Say Die, Zomboy. You know the drill. I'm afraid, yes, I must go.